Dear friends, welcome to a journey of exploring the wisdom of time. Not the time that passes on the clock, but the time of the inner self, where we learn to live serenely amidst the hustle and chaos of life. There are people who, at first glance, seem as simple as donkeys plodding slowly across a field, quiet and unassuming, but if you look closer, you'll see within them a resilient strength that few recognize. They don't boast loudly or chase after superficial glamour. Yet it's their very stillness that becomes the wind carrying them through life's storms, transforming them into lighthouses that illuminate not only their own paths but also those of the people around them. Today, I invite you to join me on this journey. A journey of mastering life through listening, observing, reflecting, and courageously shedding the habits that hold us back. This is not a dry lecture, but a heartfelt sharing, like a companion extending an invitation to look back and move forward together. Modern life is like a noisy symphony, where everyone competes to raise their voice and assert themselves. Everyone wants to speak, everyone wants to be heard, but few pause to listen. In that world, it's easy to forget a simple truth: silence is not weakness. It is strength. Those who speak little are not timid or lacking confidence, they are masters of listening. They don't rush to prove themselves or chase fleeting praise, for they understand that true value lies not in eloquent words or the crowd's attention, but in the depth of the soul, in the ability to understand and connect with the world around them. The philosopher Lao Tzu, one of the great thinkers of the East, once said, "Those who know do not speak, those who speak do not know." At first, this seems simple, but it carries a profound meaning. When you truly understand, you don't need to prove it with words, your silence says it all. Silence is not avoidance, it's a precious space for us to observe, to feel, to learn things that noise can never teach. Imagine a peaceful morning, sitting by the window with a warm cup of tea in your hands. Outside, people rush by. Cars honk incessantly, but you choose silence. You listen. You hear the cheerful chirping of birds, the gentle rustle of wind through the leaves, even the steady rhythm of your own breath. In that moment, you realize that life isn't just what we see with our eyes, but what we feel with our hearts. When you speak less, you open up a world of observation. You hear the trembling voice of a friend sharing their struggles. You sense the sadness hidden behind a colleague's smile. You notice opportunities others miss because they're too busy making noise. If you want to master your life, start with this simple act. Listen more. Speak less. Words are like seeds. If you sow them at the right time, in the right place, they'll grow into a sturdy tree. But if you scatter them too much, too hastily, you'll only create tangled weeds, chaotic and of no value to anyone. But listening alone isn't enough. In that stillness, learn to ask questions. Have you ever thought that a single, simple question could transform a conversation, even a relationship? The wise aren't the best storytellers or those who impose their thoughts on others. Instead, they're the ones who ask questions. Deep, sincere questions that invite others to share. One day, I sat chatting with an old friend. Instead of talking about my recent successes, I asked, "What made you proudest this past year?" That question made him pause, reflect, and then share his journey of overcoming challenges to care for his family. I realized that if I'd only focused on my own story, I'd have missed the chance to understand him better. The philosopher Socrates spent his life asking questions. Not to flaunt his knowledge, but to help others discover their own truth. He believed that truth doesn't lie in long-winded explanations, but in the moments when people uncover themselves. When you ask a question, you don't just show care. You create an invisible bond, stronger than any speech. Next time you're talking to someone, try this. Instead of sharing about yourself, ask, "What's weighing on your mind right now?" Or, "What made you smile today?" You'll be amazed at the answers you receive. The stories, emotions, and lessons you'd never find if you only spoke. Yet listening and asking questions are just the beginning. Words hold tremendous power. They can build a relationship or shatter a heart. That's why mature individuals weigh their words carefully before speaking. They know that a thoughtless remark can cut deeply, wounding not only the listener but leaving a scar on their own soul. Thinking before speaking is an art, a skill that demands patience and self-control. Two qualities increasingly rare in this fast-paced world. Picture your words as arrows. Once loosed from the bow, they can't be recalled. So before you shoot, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, is this necessary? What will it bring? Will it hurt anyone? I recall a time during an argument with a loved one when I nearly let slip a harsh word. But I stopped, counted to 10 in my head, and instead of attacking, I asked, "What did you mean by that?" The conversation shifted from tense to gentle, and I realized that brief silence had saved our relationship. When you speak less but with substance, each word becomes a precious gem, carrying weight and value. This isn't just a way to build trust with others. It's how you train yourself to become calmer, more mature in every situation. To live deeply and truly master your life, you must look within and confront yourself. Life is like a vast mirror, reflecting our habits. Good habits are the steps that lift us higher, but bad habits are invisible chains, trapping us in a cycle of stagnation. The frightening thing is that many don't realize they're imprisoned by these habits. Procrastination, negative thinking, avoiding responsibility, or clinging to the past. Let's examine each one, not to blame ourselves, but to understand and change, step by step. First, let's talk about procrastination, the silent thief of time. It's not just laziness, it's the fear of facing ourselves, of confronting the challenges ahead. Have you ever told yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow," only for tomorrow to become the next day, and the task still sits undone while guilt festers? Each time you procrastinate, you don't just lose time, you lose faith in yourself. I once put off writing an important article, claiming I needed more time to think. But the truth was, I feared failure, feared it wouldn't be good enough. Eventually, I decided to change. I broke the article into small parts. Today the introduction, tomorrow the body, and set specific times for each. When I finished the first part, I realized it wasn't as hard as I'd thought. Procrastination isn't fate, it's a habit you can break. Start small. Divide tasks into simple pieces. Set time limits. And focus completely. Once you overcome it the first time, you'll see you're stronger than you thought. Next is negative thinking, the invisible prison so many lock themselves into. The mind is the fiercest battlefield. When you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this," or "I'll just fail," you build a wall between yourself and the world. Those thoughts are like drops of black ink, spreading and darkening your soul. The problem is, if you repeat them long enough, you'll believe they're true, and you'll miss opportunities you could have seized. I had a friend, smart and talented, but she always thought she wasn't good enough to advance in her career. She rejected every piece of advice, every chance, because of those negative thoughts. One day, I asked her, "What have you done that you're proud of?" She paused, then told me about how she helped her team finish a project on time. I said, "See, you did that, so why don't you believe you can do more?" From that day, she started shifting, using positive affirmations like, "I'm improving every day," to replace the old thoughts. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Start by noticing negative thoughts when they arise. Ask yourself, "Is this true? What have I overcome before?" Then replace them with positive ones. "I'm capable. I'm learning every day." Changing how you talk to yourself isn't easy, but small steps will lead you to a confident, stronger mind. Then there's avoiding responsibility, the escape from your own maturity. When you blame others or dodge tough decisions, you don't just hurt those around you. You hand control of your life to circumstances. Responsibility sounds heavy, but it's actually the wings that lift you higher. I once messed up a group project because I didn't double-check the data. At first, I wanted to blame a colleague, but I chose to own up and suggest a fix. Surprisingly, no one blamed me. They thanked me for facing it. That taught me that taking responsibility isn't a burden. It's how you grow and reclaim control. Try this habit. Each day, review your actions, recognize mistakes, and find ways to fix them. You don't have to carry it all alone. Share, seek support. When you bravely take responsibility, you'll feel stronger, more confident, and life will become more meaningful. Finally, living in the past is a dangerous habit, an invisible chain binding your soul. The past is a teacher, offering valuable lessons, but if you cling to old mistakes or pains, you'll never see the light of the present. I went through a tough time after a failed relationship left me brooding for years. I kept asking, what if I'd done things differently? But then I realized, the past can't be changed. The only thing I can do is live better today. I started practicing mindfulness, focusing on each moment, feeling my breath, appreciating small things like a sunny morning or a good meal. Gradually, the past stopped being a burden and became part of me, making me stronger. Try this. Each day, spend a few minutes in the present. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. A smile, a compliment, or just being alive. The past can't change, but how you see it can change everything. Life is like a long river, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, but in any state, inner stillness is the anchor that keeps you steady. Stillness isn't weakness or surrender. It's the ultimate strength, the power of reason over emotion, of a heart that loves without possessing, of a soul that lets go without resentment. The philosopher Zhuangzi said, "Muddy water, left still, becomes clear, a chaotic mind, left calm, becomes bright." When you learn to listen, observe, and think before acting, you don't just master yourself. You spread peace to those around you. Life isn't a race to prove who you are, but a long journey to discover who you can become. Every day is a chance to shed old habits, train your mind, and step closer to your best self. Don't fear difficulties. They're not enemies, but strict teachers, helping you grow through every challenge. Dear friends, I want to remind you that your existence is a precious gift. Not just for you, but for the world. When you live deeply, choosing to listen instead of argue, observe instead of rush, reflect instead of act impulsively, you don't just enrich your soul. You become a cool breeze in others' lives. Start with the smallest things. Listen to a friend who needs to share. Ask a sincere question to understand someone better. Or simply smile at yourself in the mirror each morning. Don't think only grand changes matter. The small steps you take today will lead you to a radiant future where you're not just strong, but free, happy, and whole. I believe that with each day you choose to live meaningfully, you're writing a beautiful story. A story of someone who knows how to love, grow, and master their life. May you always stand firm, find light in every breath, and live a life truly worth living.